When I worked in London for the London Daily Express, one of the assignments I had was to cover the court case of the arrest of the great train robbers uh, outside London, and one of the guys arrested was Ronnie Biggs, and who came and hid out in Australia after he escaped from jail. And years later, there was a piece in the paper about, because he was hiding out in Rio, and he was going to have a party to celebrate 20 years on the run. So I got his phone number from his wife, who lived in Melbourne, and I rang him from Sydney and asked could I come to the party. And he said, not another photographer. I said, just a sec, Ron, you owe this photographer because I'm an Australian photographer, and you know, you hid out in Australia, so you owe Australia. He said, oh, are you coming to Rio, are you? I said, well, my wife then worked for South African Airways, who flew to Rio, so we decided we'd take a holiday there. So I said to Ron, yeah, I'm coming to Rio. He said, oh, ring me when you get here, we'll see. Anyway, I got some of my old pictures from the Express of when Ronnie was arrested, and the Scotland Yard pictures of him before and after, because he had plastic surgery, and shots of him when, you know, his escape route from Wandsworth prison, and I got them blown up into big poster-sized prints, and thought I'll take these over and show them to Ronnie. That'll get me into the party for sure. I also spoke to his wife and found out that he drank Glenfiddich Scotch, so I got 2 bottles of that. And when we got to Rio, I rang him up and he said, oh, you're here. Well, why don't you come up and have a cup of tea and we'll have a talk. So I took my wife up, we had a cup of tea with Ron, and I gave him the poster prints, and he thought they were terrific. I gave him the Glenfiddich. He said, you can definitely come to the party. And anyway, the party was fantastic, and I took lots of pictures for Playboy magazine and also for the Associated Press, and also for the paper I worked for back in Australia, the Fairfax organisation. And Ron asked me could he have some of the pictures for a book that he was going to publish. I said, of course. He said, photographers always promise you pictures, but they never deliver. I said, Ron, you'll get these pictures. And the next time that a South African Airways flight was going over there, I got one of the pilots to take all these prints over for Ronnie for his book. And about 3 months later, I get in the post a copy of his book. His book was called Ronnie Biggs, The Odd Man Out. And this is a picture that was taken of us having lunch after the party with my wife and I and Ronnie Biggs and his wife. Anyway, in the inside cover of the book, he wrote, Russell, thanks for the party pictures which I've used in my book. Sorry I can't pay you for them, but my money ran out. Cheers, Ronnie. That's Ronnie Biggs.
Very good.
This was one of the most famous fires in Sydney. It was at the Buckingham's department store. It was taken on Anzac Day, 1968, and it was on a Saturday. And in those days, the paper I worked for, the Sydney Sun, only had 2 editions. The first edition covered the Anzac Day March, and the second edition covered more of the march and anything else that should happen that day. Anyway, we covered the march and we were all back at the office, and we went over to the pub for a drink, all the photographers. And we'd been there for about half an hour and the phone rang. It was the news editor. He said, oh, there's been a fire downtown. Someone's got to go down and have a look at it. And so one of you's got to go. So we tossed coins and I lost the toss, so I had to go. And when I got down there, sure enough, it was blazing away, and I got into this position, and I said to the fire chief, "Do you think that it's going to fall? That wall's going to fall?" And he said, "Oh, it'll fall, but I don't know when. It might be today, it might be tomorrow. Then it could fall any time." And our office had just switched over to 35mm cameras, which means that you had a roll of film which took 36 frames. But the guy that I was standing next to from the opposition, the Mirror, he had a Mamiya Flex which took 12 exposures on the film, and he'd exposed 7 shots, so he thought, after what the fireman told us, he'd have time to rewind and put a new film in. So he rewound his film and got the new film to put in, and he's just about putting it in, and down it came. And he had to watch it with his eyes, poor guy. I felt sorry for him. And that's the story of the Buckingham's fire. And the picture won lots of awards. It was used big overseas, and it was very good for my career.